Welcome to another episode of Fire Your Boss Fridays. I'm your host, Chad Passa, and with me as always is my ride or die, Lisa Hart. Why should you comment and subscribe right now to the channel? Well, Fire Your Boss Fridays is not just a clever name. With help from all of our special guests, we're going to share new knowledge with our listeners to launch, manage, and grow their businesses. We hope to inspire you by sharing captivating stories from the personal struggles and wins from our awesome guests that have already successfully fired their bosses. As a result, we want you to take control of your destiny, steal your life back, fire your boss, and live a life full of purpose. Today, we have a branding expert, Maggie Bergin, the owner of Be Understood Branding. Maggie, please say hi to our listeners and tell us how you found yourself on a podcast like Fire Your Boss.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Maggie. I'm a brand strategist in Chicago, and I think I found you because of how the visual in your podcast is. It says F and then the 3 underscores. So that could be fire. It could also be another word. And if you look at my website, you'll see that my motto is kick vagueness in the you know what. So I felt simpatico, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Oh, what a compliment. And we felt the same way, actually, Maggie. So we're super excited to have you. This is awesome. So I'm going to take my hands off this for just a quick second. Lisa has some really cool questions that she prepared for you that I think are going to open this dialogue really well. And branding is a big topic for any business. I don't care who you are. So you're going to get some takeaways, listeners. So turn it up or put on the headphones, take out your notepad, and we're going to get into the nitty gritty here and see what we can take away from all this. Fire away, Lisa.
Well, so my first question is, I noticed on your site also some creative wording was WTF is branding. So that's my initial question. Let's get right into it. Like, what is branding?
Thank you so much for the question, and again for having me. In the simplest terms, a brand strategy is very basic questions asked and answered so that you can be known to the people that you want to connect with and then connect with them. A brand strategy helps people look at your offer and then understand, is that for me? That's for me. I need that. I want that. I like that brand. I say often that branding, I believe, is your business strategy, and marketing, sales, and copy, all PR, add to that list, are the execution of that strategy.
Mm-hmm. So I think
so. Unless you're the, go ahead.
I'm
sorry.
That,
go ahead.
So I think, like, kind of how we were talking about, you say, kick vagueness, and
in the dike. Yeah.
I think it also, like, would you agree? It kind of helps, like, like obviously you're saying our two brands kind of came together because we spoke to each other. So it kind of helps you determine, like, almost personality wise, like, am I even going to want to work with this person, right?
Unless you are the only person doing what you do, and if you are the only person doing what you do, congratulations, you're amazing. I want to meet you and hang out with you. But the vast majority, I mean, there are of people, let me finish my thought, is we're doing things that other people do. We do them how we do them. We don't do them like other people. There are 22 brand strategy firms in Chicago alone. And here I am, number 23. So I'm not the only person doing what I do. So I need a way to stand out. And standing out is very simple. It is 50% how you talk to other people, how you welcome people, how you pull out a chair for them and get them a glass of water. And it's 50% figuring out how to talk about yourself. So your industry is crowded. You need to carve some space for yourself by introducing a strong, well-defined brand, and it will make you unforgettable.
I like that. That's awesome. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been in the communications industry since college. My background is in government affairs. So I started selling ideas instead of services and products. Ideas, I worked for a member of the House Appropriations Committee. I lost my stomach for government affairs as money played a larger and larger role in our government. And so I turned naturally to marketing, because that's all government affairs is figuring out how your idea can stand out, understanding where somebody at your table is coming from, because speaking to their worldview is the price of admission to get and hold their attention. So it was a natural transition for me. I worked for other organizations until 3 years ago when I started my own brand strategy firm.
Okay, cool. So who is branding for? Like, is it for all types of businesses? Like, should someone get branding immediately right when they start a business, or what's that look like?
I have to admit, I was a little nervous, because I don't know what everyone listening, I don't know what her questions are going to be. So we didn't exchange questions in advance, but so far, like, I'm so happy and relieved, because I know what, like, I
Uh-oh,
can
she's
answer
not
that
going to like
question.
me, Lisa.
Good.
Okay, so
You have all the reason in the world to be scared once
Yeah,
I
wait
get to
for
my
Chad's
stuff for
questions.
sure. But well, I'm eager to learn more about you.
I'm a 50-year-old person. I'm a 50-year-old person who has seen some things and been
Oh,
around
okay.
lots
All
of
right. Dang
people.
it.
So scared, I will
I'm trying to
probably
set the
not be
stage
scared.
here.
No offense. I'd be curious and interested and open to your feedback. But so to get back to Lisa's question, the brand building process
Mm-hmm.
is the same no matter the size of your organization or your industry. And that is because the branding process is designed around how human brains work. What drives people to take action? How does attention work? So no matter the size of,
Mm-hmm.
no matter the brain, I mean, if it's the
Right.
same brain, it's the same process. So if you have an offer, if you're a political organization and you're trying to get traction around your idea, you are a brand. If you are a human being
Mm-hmm.
selling a product, you are a brand. If you are a corporation selling a service, you're a brand, and you need a brand strategy.
Gotcha.
I like the when you say brand strategy. Is that big? That's not like just a small thing like, well, here's your brand strategy, or it's not just the brand. The brand strategy goes along with it, right? So is that two parts or is that one? You talk about it like it's one, like that's all it is. You look at it,
There
I
is
think, that way. Am I wrong by saying that?
no. You are absolutely on the nose. It is a imprecise language that I'm using, and I'm just using what's in the zeitgeist. So when I say brand strategy, what I mean is 6 questions asked and answered well. Your brand personality, your brand values, your brand positioning, differentiated advantages, the human needs your work addresses, and your
Mm-hmm.
ideal client. So that's what a brand strategy is. And then you hand
Mm-hmm.
that over to someone who can build a visual identity that pulls in that same direction.
Hmm.
Question?
Interesting. That sounds cool.
Yes.
Yes, and branding is just so cool. I just love the whole idea of
Yeah.
like creating clarity for people. Even as human beings, that's almost like a relationship thing because you like learn who you actually are or how the world sees you or how you want to be projected in general, just in all senses of the word. But it's like an ego of sense, right? Like trying to connect the self to the vision that everyone else sees. It doesn't always line up. Everyone, oh, I'm so misunderstood. Okay, well, there's an opportunity there to grow those two and merge those two, and maybe this is you could just call it a brand strategy, but essentially that's what it is you're taking the core parts of you and saying, okay, how do we reflect those properly to the world so I don't have to explain myself all the time, which is
Yeah.
totally annoying. But or people have to apologize for you like you did your husband, like he's not allowed on camera. All right, fire away, Lisa. I think you got a couple more there.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens if someone doesn't have any branding or consistent branding?
They will usually feel like they're all over the place. They will usually have a very hard time gaining traction. They will talk about themselves 90% of the time instead of talking about their ideal client or saying, I see you first. They will have visuals that are not
Mm-hmm.
reflective of the people that they want to serve and the way they want to serve them. There's a reason why Dunkin' Donuts is two big, fluffy, brightly colored pink and yellow letters. And Starbucks is not. Starbucks is green, and it's a circle, and there's an illustration within that circle. Those things are by design, and they reinforce what our understanding is of the brand. So people contact me when they feel like in two moments in time. One, they have a tested offer and they know that it's really good because they have made specific people really happy with that offer. They are trying to grow and they're not growing. And the reason why is usually because they don't have a way that way of talking to people, welcoming them to your table, and then speaking to them in a way that's respectful of their worldview. And then the other moment that people contact me is they have a successful offer, they have some traction, and now they're ready to grow. They're ready to hire a salesperson. They're ready to hire an operations person, a part-time marketing person. They have no idea what they would tell this person because they've been doing it all. They haven't codified what the brand is. So that's usually when people contact me.
So do you work with, you're in Chicago, you mentioned. So do you work with strictly like businesses in Chicago, or do you work with businesses kind of anywhere?
No. My last two clients, one was in Basel, Switzerland.
Okay.
And then the client before that was in San Francisco. The client before that was in New York City. So it's so great. I work with women-owned businesses mostly, and they're all over the world. It's a joy.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what results can I expect to see from your services and branding? And is it something like if, someone works with you, is it kind of like overnight or is it like this big, long, obviously, branding is
asking for a
continuous
friend,
thing, but how quickly, like if I hire you, how quickly can I get results, and what's it like working with you?
Everybody agrees what is involved in a brand strategy. It's all 22 firms downtown would all say the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it is so simple. It is so simple. It's like irritating to me how simple it is, which is why I feel like I'm on this mission to like teach people that like, look, giant corporations know this. They know all of this. I want everyone else to know this. Maybe it's because like I'm a librarian's daughter. I don't know, but it's a very simple process. It's literally 6 questions asked and answered.
These are templated questions, it sounds like. Yeah, you keep coming back to those. But
Chad, the answers are in you. If I spent 30 minutes with you and asking you about your brand personality, at the end of 30 minutes, we would have one written out.
So is this where I get scared? Because
the
true me might come out? No, I'm totally kidding. Well, that's so cool, though, because I love the way your passion right there, I just felt the fire light up within you and how you want to share with the world this simple strategy, because you know how close people are to like finding it. It's literally right there. They're almost maybe looking at it, but don't know what they're looking at.
It's like you're too close to it and you can't, like, you know what I mean? Like
great analogy.
You just need an assist. That's all. So it's 6 sessions.
Awesome.
To answer your question, Lisa, it's 6 sessions and they're 90 minutes and you have 30 minutes of homework, and we can do 2 sessions a week. We can do 1 session a week. I don't recommend more than 2 because I need fresh eyeballs on a topic at least 2 or 3 times afterwards. And then it takes usually 24, 48 hours. Because the first thing you write is going to be garbage. The second thing you write is going to be, and the third thing you write is going to be perfect. So, but in order to get to those iterations 2 and 3, we need some time away from it.
Gotcha. Love it.
Yeah. It's awesome. So easy. No, it's so easy.
Yeah. So what do you walk away with, Maggie, in the end after these 6, mind-boggling questions and clarity and aha moments and you're like, man, my whole life is coming together. And then I love you, Maggie. How can I follow you? And yeah. I can buy you coffee forever. What
There's
is it?
2 things you walk away with, and I would say one thing is at the macro level and one thing is at the micro level. I'll give you an example of both. Example of the micro level. 2 weeks into my work with a client, I got a text from her. We had finished working on brand strategy and we had started working on brand differentiation. And we integrate everything because a brand strategy is like a recipe. So when you add something new, sometimes you have to go back and adjust how much of that first thing you put in terms of ingredients. So she made that adjustment and she started using her new voice in her posts. And she got a gig that was twice the cost of my program. And she texted
Wow.
me, we were both crying and so happy.
Boom, 100%.
Because
200% return on investment. Love it.
because she was able to connect, because she was fully, and she's in a very crowded industry. She's an interior designer in a very kind of wealthy area. And so she needed a way to stand out. She found it, she used it. So that's one thing you walk away with, is never wondering what to post about again, how to sound when you post, where to start when you're doing communications. And then the second thing you walk away with is, on a larger scale, my clients describe for me this kind of calmness that they feel about how to move forward in their business. And as business owners, I don't have to tell you, and I don't have to tell anybody we're listening to, how much we need that calm, because there's so much going on. You know, we have aging parents, we have kids that are in summer camp or traveling, we have, you know, that one tooth that's bugging us and we haven't gone to see the person, we have an aging dog, we're training a young puppy, whatever. Like we need ease and calm as well. So right. I would say, like, you know, human brains naturally want connections, and finishing a brand strategy helps you understand how to act human as a brand, so that you can form those relationships without wondering if you're doing it right.
Sounds like $1 million offer. That was awesome. That's big. That's heavy. I don't think people know the leverage, like the caliber of what you're doing there, because that's your core, that's your sun of your universe right there that you're kind of creating. And so I think it's, for me, just hearing you talk about it, I'm just like, wow, I think there's a lot of room for improvement, even within my space. And so I think hopefully all of our listeners are feeling the same way, like, you know, maybe this is, you know, I don't have the clarity, and maybe that is what's not aligning. And then all the rest of the pieces might just fall right into place. I mean, for all you know, you might be trying to hold something together, you know, that isn't even designed to be together, pieces that don't belong. And so that might be the whole problem in itself. And so I could see ultimately how something like this could really, especially someone maybe suffers from ADHD, or they're a big visionary type, right, Maggie? Do you get run into that kind of stuff, right? They got ideas, they just don't know what to do with them. And then Maggie's like, listen, I got you. All right, step into my office. All right, let's do this.
Would you kind of be speaking of anyone you know, Chad?
Oh, well, you know, asking for a friend. So, yeah, absolutely.
Always.
So, well, cool.
Always asking for
Amen.
a friend. Yeah.
So do you work with remote and like brick and mortar type businesses? Is like, do you kind of specialize in one or the other? Or?
I seem to be specializing not by design in two areas, and one is service providers. So lawyers, coaches, interior designers, architects, people who provide a service. And then the other, I've had two clients in one category, and I would love to have more clients in this category. And I have no idea how to get them. Like, how these two found me is completely random. And that is startups. So people who are developing apps that, you know, they need a brand strategy to go figure out how to get some VC money. But like I said before, it's the same, whether you're McDonald's or y'all, you still are communicating with human brains. Your clients, unless your clients are humans. So it's the same, human brains work the same way no matter what. They are They want to look at things the same way. They are drawn to look at things in the same way. So it's the same process.
Okay.
So not only have you learned this, I'm sure you've seen it play out in real life as well. I think that's where you're like, listen, I know it's going to work. And not only was I taught that it's going to work, but I've watched it happen. I've helped develop it and see it happen. You're obviously using your own business model too, so that's pretty cool.
I try. Do y'all struggle with that at all either? Like you know these truths about running a business or owning a business, and then every once in a while you're like, oh no. Oh no, the brand strategist has no brand. Wouldn't that be terrible?
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, it's the carpenter who lives in has a junk deck on his house. Like, hey man, I thought you were a carpenter. Right. Yeah, well, the neighbor's deck's real nice.
It happens. It happens. I think that's true. The cobbler's children have no shoes is the expression that I've heard. And I'm married to an architect, and I didn't have a bathroom door for 4 years, so it does happen.
Yeah, see, that's a perfect example of it right there. Right.
What about social media? How big of a role does social media play in branding? Like, could someone build a brand without social media nowadays, or like what role does that play specifically?
Great question. One of my clients who I'm not a marketing expert, so I'll just share my experience. And that is one of my clients who makes more money than a lot of my clients is not on social media. She has a newsletter and she's a speaker. And we did a brand strategy because even in those channels that she's chosen, she still needs a way to be recognizable and relatable and to talk about her offer in a way that resonates with the people she wants to be of service to. So, whether you're struggling with social media or content creation or anything else related to marketing, a brand strategy provides the direction to overcome your challenges and achieve your goals. And that's true in whatever your marketing channels are.
I like that. Honestly, I think that's kind of my issue with one of my businesses I'm developing, which is, I'm teaching people how to start remote bookkeeping businesses right now. And I'm kind of in that, like on my social media, I'm kind of like, well, I'm not certain like what message I'm putting out there, like, am I speaking to them, giving them what they want to hear?
Have you talked to the people that have purchased a product like that or might be interested in it? Have you asked them about that?
Yeah, the people, like I have a few that I've mentored already. But see, a lot of times like those people, I feel like they're afraid to give you that feedback, They're kind of like, oh, it's great. Do you have anything to say? Well, no, it's great. I'm like, give me a little bit more here. I want some criticism,
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love it.
You're welcome to if this makes sense, use it. And if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. But you're not going to ask them anything about your product at first. What you want to understand isn't how they relate to your product. You want to understand their worldview.
Okay.
Because speaking to their worldview is the price of admission to get their attention. So you're going to ask questions like, what keeps you up at night? What's a day look like for you? What belief system did you grow up with around work? And what did you inherit? What belief system did you inherit? And what's your relationship to that belief system now? And after we get off this call, I'm going to send you all of those questions as a totally inadequate thank you for having me on your podcast.
That's awesome.
It's something I sell for, is it 27 or 37? I can't remember, but it's an ideal client interview guide. And the beautiful thing about it is you're not going to ask them any questions about your product. You're just going to ask them about themselves so that you can know how to welcome them to your table.
I love it. That's
Wow.
So cool.
Uh-oh, I'm all excited. All right, let's shut her down. Thanks for coming out, guys. We got work to do. Just kidding. We got stuff going on over here. So thank you so much. That is an amazing gift. But this is a great transition here to go into a couple questions I had, because Lisa's talking about feedback. You're talking about feedback. You said to your 18-year-old self in one of we had a little questionnaire we did for you as well. Your 18-year-old self.
That's a great questionnaire. Good job on that.
Thank you. That's great feedback, right? Nicole, that one's for you. Good job.
Yeah, good job.
So You said, I think it was quote unquote, what they're saying is information for you, not about you. And I was like, whoa, I'm grabbing onto that and I'm going to run with it with this Maggie. And I want to play with it for a minute, but I also want to create a little debate because I think there's room for debate here, but just for fun. So with this 18-year-old self, and I know it applies to you in maybe a different way. So hopefully you'll take this thought experiment with me, Maggie. Is feedback from others truly valuable for growth, or can it sometimes be misleading, pushing us away from our authentic selves? Right? Because your job is to align the brand, and then you get some feedback, and they're like, well, that's not, now you have these twisted thoughts. See, it's this certainty that we got to create, right? And so from your perspective, I'll say it again, is feedback from others truly valuable for growth, or can it sometimes be misleading and push us away from that authentic self?
The second week of my brand strategy program, we figure out what your brand values are, and more importantly, where those values show up for the people that you're of service to. So if someone gives me feedback, that is powerful information for me to have. That does not mean that is something I need to run with. That is information for me to evaluate. So I would say not to get off the hook, but my answer is it depends. Is what they're telling me aligned with my values enough that that bedrock of my brand is not going to be disturbed? So I appreciate feedback. I love feedback.
Cool.
But whether I'll make a change about it really depends.
Yes. I think I hear you. You're talking about how can we strike a balance between well, you have to be resilient to that feedback and avoid getting influenced by harsh judgments that'll hinder that progress, right?
Yeah.
Is this external feedback a constructive tool to improve your business? And this is the kind of the internal dialogue, or does it often lead you to discouragement and defensiveness? And if it does, it sounds to me, Maggie, but you have the solution to that, because people, I see it all the time. Somebody gives them a comment and it's like, oh, well, now I'm going to start doing this for my business. Well, the customer is not always right. So just take a step back, my friend, and take the feedback, but first of all, don't take it personal. And I think that's, like you said, it's for you, not about you, right? And it's a business and it's a product and it's a service. It isn't, as much as it is you, it isn't you. You're not embodying your whole business in your service. You are a human being, which is a magical creature on this planet. It would be an insult to your being to say, I'm this business. Right? Like in a sense, right? Because these like Starbucks, I wouldn't want to be like, I'm Starbucks, like that's so small in the universe of human beings. But so the balance, right? That's the takeaway from that question, right? Is take the step back, find balance in that, right?
May I offer another thought?
Yeah, it's a thought experiment. Let's do it. This is a controversy, I think, between some people go in both directions.
I think one of my jobs as a business owner is to provide the right product to the people that it can be of use to in a time that it can be of use to them. So sometimes people come to me and they hire me immediately. You're my girl. Let's get this done. Hashtag hi Liz Lasky.
Right. Okay.
It's one of my clients. Some people come to me 18 months later. So if someone is giving me, and I say that because if someone is coming and giving me feedback about my product, it's my job to listen and use that information to evaluate those three things. Is this the right person? Is this should I be making a tweak to my product? And I think you only know that by being extremely open to feedback, welcoming it, and then treating it like data. If 3 people tell me, and honestly, more than 3 people have told me, Maggie, this should be a digital course, I need to go make a digital course.
Right. I see. Okay.
I haven't.
So this could this change branding like later on, or this could change your service possibly, right? To adjust to the market, right? The market's saying, hey, do this, or we'd like this from you, Maggie, please. Yeah. So
Martha Stewart has probably offered 1,000 different products over the course of her brand's existence, but the brand hasn't changed.
Right. Awesome. Well played. Yeah, I bet you use that one a lot, Maggie, don't you? That's a good one, though. I mean, I'm not blaming you by any means, but that is a solid example
Usually
to
I
help
say
people.
Oprah. Usually I say
Oprah.
Oprah.
Well, I like the other, but yeah. So we don't even have to go into this debate from your perspective, right? But would you agree that some folks do get caught up in that mess a little bit, like if they don't have maybe someone like you to keep them sturdy in that, right? They could the woos and ways, and the world is out to manipulate you, as we all know. That the whole when I use that term loosely, of course, but you can be manipulated or wooed or wayed pretty easily, right? In this world, so many people know so many things, and it's so powerful. You're just a civilian. Most people, they have no idea they're being. Even my daughter today, she's like, "Dad, they had a flash sale on this curling iron. I had to get it." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Well,
sweetie."
but
She goes,
then
"Yeah, but
but
the
then
next
she
day
got
the flash
upset.
sale was
Yeah.
still going on." She's mad. I'm like, "Sweetie, yeah, they got you."
Yeah. I think one of my values is, because I help people learn so much about their ideal client, I make them promise me that they will not abuse people with that information. In
Oh
other words, we're
man.
not doing, flash sales. We're not saying 10 pounds in 10 days to be lost. We're not making promises we can't keep.
Right.
So
Love it.
Yeah, that's some
as
integrity. I like that.
well, I got to sleep at night. You got to sleep at night. And for some people, they have no problem sleeping at night, making promises that they can't keep. But I don't know. Like I said, librarian's daughter, not for me.
Right?
It's cool. We align with that
Yeah.
perfectly. The fact that you said that, and I preach it to our listeners. Please build a business with integrity. It has so much more value long term. Marketing costs and marketing dollars go down as you build a business with integrity. In the beginning, it's the same price. You pay the same dollar for dollar as the guy or gal who's building a business without integrity and pulling the wool over your eyes and blank, blank, blank. But then their marketing costs will either continually grow or they'll continue on that path. But with a business built on integrity, with a good foundation, with good core values, and obviously some good branding, that's something you can carry to the next generation. You don't want to hand over some junk company to your kids or even your next prodigy, because it doesn't always go to family. Might be someone within your organization that is worthy and capable, and it's just not worth it. But marketing dollars, just the facts are the marketing dollars will go down. You'll start getting referrals, and in fact, you may never have to market again, ever.
In most cases, the truth will out. So one of the things that happens in a brand strategy is it's at once a very big deal and not a big deal at all. You're codifying how you will get and hold the attention of the people you want to serve. But,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a big deal insofar as all the answers are literally inside you. But what happens is people start saying things that they want to be true about their business, because I'm asking enormous questions. What human needs does your work address, and how? So what I say to people before we start is there will be a moment where you will say something and you'll feel a little ugh. And that's because it's not true. But you want it to be true about your brand. So that is when you need to pause and either don't say it or go make it true in your business. So the brand strategy, I didn't know that was part of the brand strategy process until I did it and saw it again and again and again. And I was like, oh, we got to talk about this. Because if it's not true, if you put anything in your brand strategy that's not true, it's not going to be useful to you. The truth will out. If you say, I had a client, we were going through her differentiated advantages, and she said, I have an excellent, what did she say? It was like customer service or something. And I was like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, let's fix that.
You can either say that, and this whole process will be a waste of your time, or you can not say that and go fix it and then say it later.
Yeah.
So what did you say?
Absolutely.
The truth will out? Is that what you said?
The truth will, my experience in this day and age is the truth will out. Yes.
Right. I
If
love
you promise somebody will lose 10 pounds in 10, if you abuse people with how human attention works and how human beings want to be part of the cool crowd and have instant gratification, the truth will out. There are Yelp reviews, there are Reddit subreddits, there are people telling their stories on TikTok. So Don't be aspirational. Be real. Be you.
Wow, that's heavy. I'm gonna have to sit with that one for a while because you gotta
Okay.
tread lightly out in this digital world. I mean, shoot, no one wants to get canceled for sure.
No,
And
you
that's the
don't have to
perfect way
tread
to get
lightly.
canceled. Yes.
I completely disagree,
No.
respectfully.
Yeah.
No,
Fly
do
into
not
this one
tread
then.
lightly. Do not
Uh-oh.
tread lightly. Chad, be completely yourself. What else are you supposed to do? You're supposed to
Well, other
like,
than be terrified of the mob. Come on, Maggie, they're out there.
but are you, look, are you a gross person?
Am
No.
I what?
Is what you're selling gross? No.
No.
So don't worry about it. You're
Fair
good.
enough.
You're a good person selling something that's useful and helpful to people.
So you would
You know,
recommend
stand firmly in
so
that.
you would recommend if someone has some controversial ideas to just put them out there then.
Well, what do you
As
mean
long
by
as you feel like those what you just explained, right? It's not
Yeah.
gross, right? That's right. That
Yeah.
would be your view on that.
You know,
Yeah, okay.
it's they're very simple rules. Like, don't punch down, be respectful, like common decency, right? Like,
Hey, I
so
hope
when
you
you say
listeners are writing these
controversial,
down. That was three awesome things to write down what she just said. So write them down.
man, y'all are. I'm gonna float on after this podcast for a week. My husband's gonna be like, "Calm down."
Well, that was good. I'm trying to capture all your greatness, Maggie. That's my role here. So yeah, we love
My
you
goodness.
sharing all your stuff. So you got
Well,
a great fire in there.
So if you
It's an honor to be with you.
Yes, we love having you here. So if you had one tip to give to our listeners about branding,
She just gave him 3, Lisa. Come on.
they're
running out of
what's
notepad.
the number one? What's the top just quick little tidbit that someone could take away from today?
A thought or an activity?
Either.
Both, anything. There's some
Yeah.
huge takeaway so
Okay.
they can float with you, Maggie. They can go the whole
Oh,
month
no.
just floating around.
Oh, no.
Take your time. We can edit the we can
I
edit
was
the
so
long
good
pause.
up until right now. There's a reason why some brands are distinct and irresistible and others miss the mark. And we've all been on social media enough to know those brands that miss the mark. We scroll on by. And I would say a brand strategy is how you build connections like the brands that you admire and that you pay attention to and give your time and attention to.
Nice, I like it.
Wow. So now I'll take a moment of silence. Let's all digest that. This has been so cool. Look, got her laughing. She's giggling pretty good now. So, well, cool. Well, we're getting into this thing pretty good.
One more thing I want to get in. Where can someone find you? Can you tell us that, Maggie? Like, tell our listeners, like.
You can, to get in contact with me, just come to Instagram to Be Understood Branding. And I'll look forward to seeing you there.
Awesome.
Be Understood Branding on Instagram. Check it out, everyone. It's also going to be a link down in our bio. Maybe we'll have you back again, Maggie. This was interesting, but you've many thought-provoking thoughts. Some pretty heavy stuff there. I mean, but this is a big topic. I mean, this is it. I think it is. I mean, we talked about some cool stuff like
this in sales. I think consent-based sales and branding is where it's at. That's it. You know, you can hire operations, this is it. This is the stuff that people who want to fire their bosses have to understand and be able to do.
Well, it might even light their own fire, because if they can see their own vision, for heaven's sakes, right? Like, wow, that's me. I'm that. It's like it's tangible and it's real and you can touch it, and like, wow, this is give you the confidence, right? I'm good enough, right?
Yes. Yeah. I don't need $1 million. I can do this.
Yeah. Don't throw money at it, people. Just put some time and energy and get the right team for sure. As we wrap up this episode of Fire Your Boss Fridays, remember one thing: the business is not bigger than the truth. Embrace your power of authenticity, just like our guest Maggie here does at Be Understood Branding. Maggie reminds us that staying true to ourselves and our values is the key to building a successful and resonant business. Let the truth shine through your brand, and you'll connect with your audience in a way that is genuine and impactful. So Rebel Souls, go out there and brand yourself with authenticity. Your truth will outshine any facade and pave the way to your entrepreneur success. Thank you for joining us today, Maggie. All you listeners, keep tuning in for more episodes. If you have comments, lay it down for us. Maggie will help answer them if they're directed towards her. We'll get those to her for sure.
100%.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for joining us and on Fire Your Boss. Stay true, stay authentic, and keep firing bosses. Until next time.